Okay, I'm doing this for my, project and for other people as well to look at. I'm going to make biscotti. It says 3 1/4 cups all-purpose flour, 1 tablespoon baking powder, 1/3 teaspoon salt, 1 1/2 cup sugars, 10 tablespoons butter or 1 1/4 stick, 3 large eggs, 1 tablespoon vanilla extract. This one calls for Ainsine, but we don't do it with Ainsine, or we do sometimes, but I'm not doing it with Ainsine today. And then cut almonds, and that's, I'm not going to use that because it normally goes with the Ainsine flavor. And then you want to leave egg whites for later. The reason I'm doing it for the project, sorry about the jumpiness, is because Christmas, everybody's thinking about, what I can get somebody for a gift, what I can get. But a lot of preppers make their own holiday stuff. We just did hard-boiled eggs. They think about, what can I make versus what can I get. And it's just, a better gift because you make it yourself, and it's less money than, going and buying something expensive. So I have a lot of family members, and one of their favorite things is my biscotti. I know there will be a couple of people who will take this and doctor it for themselves, because that's what I did. So I just told you what needs to be in it, and then I'm going to go and start putting it together, and then I will update you along the way so you can see what, we do. So we know we need 1 stick, so I've set that aside up here, but we need 1/4, so that means we're going to have to go into here and cut the piece we need and then put it back into the... Okay, so I don't know if you saw me, but obviously didn't do it so straight, but such is my life. And I have to melt these, so I will be doing that momentarily. Okay, so I have 2 types of measuring cups that I can use for liquids. We have my plastic, pretty, and glass, Pyrex, to be exact. And when I'm melting, I always use glass because, like I said in my paper, plastics can leach chemicals into your food. So as you can see, I melted the butter, and I'm putting it there for right now. And the next thing I wanted to talk to you about was eggs. This recipe requires 3 large eggs. As you can see, we have more than enough. What you might not notice is some of them aren't 100% clean. The reasoning for that is if you wash an egg, it's really bad for it. Some countries don't even allow you to sell washed eggs because of, what is the reason?
When the eggs are laid, they have a covering on them, a film on them that keeps from bacteria from getting into the core shell. And if you wash them, it washes away that layer.
So it just absorbs.
Any kind of bacteria will be absorbed into the egg.
Okay, so I knew around about what it was, but I wanted the exact words for, educational purposes. So we don't wash them for that reason. I will wash them prior to cracking them, because that means I'm taking that coating off, but I'm just going to use them seconds later.
When you wash them, you always use warm water.
And when you wash them, you always use warm water. Anyway, so I'll do the eggs. I have to put the eggs, melted butter, sugar, and the extracts into the bowl and mix them, and I'll come back when I'm doing that. So I have my everything all ready to go. So what I do now is put the sugar. It's a half And yes, I do them backwards. And then 1 cup. So that's 1.5 cups total. And another big note I need to make is how I melted the butter before. You got to be careful that your butter isn't too hot because you don't want to cook your eggs prior to them mixing together, because you know that's just going to be a horrible texture. After all this time, this is, you know, not too hot. So we pour it straight in. Three eggs. This will be my last one. So we're going to do the vanilla first, which is 1 tablespoon. You can barely see me, but I just measured out a tablespoon. Most good cooks that are not me will measure their liquids over the sink or another bowl. That way, if there's some extra, you don't ruin your recipe. But I got that pretty good. So we add the vanilla. And then we add my substituted 1 teaspoon of orange. I'm going to quickly show you it mixing in. I raised it up with the arm that's on this side, which you can't really see. And I'm going to stir it. And I'll slowly increase it by a little bit each time. Now we're going to go up. But you can see how this is getting loud, so I'm just going to show you this and then show you the rest after. Okay, let me see if I can get this a little bit better to see. This is what is a wet mix right now. And you have our flour, our baking powder and salt in another bowl, so that it's ready to go, and that's your dry. That's going to help it bind up, because right now this is, you can see very thin. But once we put the flour, baking powder, and salt in there, it'll thicken up into a dough. And I'll show you when we get there. So I added all the flour and all that, and as you can see, it's nice and thick now. I'm going to take it out and put it into a form of a log, and then I'll show you that process after I finish making these logs. Okay, so I took them and formed them into logs. The consistency is really easy. You just do it with your hands, and you try and get them angle as uniform as possible, because you want to cook at the you don't want one to be undercooked and one to be overcooked. So you try and get them as best as you can the same shape and thickness. And you can see another egg, because it requires a egg wash. And okay, so a lot of people vary on how they do this. I've always done it like you see right now. I use my fingers to hold the yolk, and then the egg whites will sift right through. And then I don't really have a recipe that uses egg yolk, so I'm going to dispose of it once it's done dripping. See, now you have just the yolk left in your hand. So I'm going to go and wash my hands off and dispose of the yolk, and I'll show you what it goes to after this. Okay, so I'll show you real quick how to do the egg wash. I have the silicone brush, and just, drag it across. And go to the next one, do the same thing. So this is what they look like when they are cooked once. You can see they're golden brown on the top. And I'm going to cut them like that at an angle. Then I will keep doing that until thickness and all that's up to you. I like them a little bit thick, so you don't need to see how I cut them all the way because I'm pretty sure you get the point. So I'll come back. Okay, so I cut it up, flipped them, and then put them in the oven. They're going to cook off and they'll be done. And you can either decorate them with melting chocolates and do, you know, a drizzle of chocolate over them, especially because they're orange. It'll give it that chocolate orange. But it's really up to you from there. Okay.